Ted Kluszewski, or Big Clue, was a factory worker, turned college football star, turned 15-year Major League first baseman. He was known for his powerful bat and his powerful arms. Ted was a gentle giant, widely known to be one of the most kind men of his era. Clue was a fan favorite in Cincinnati and has been honored with a statue outside the Great American Ballpark, as well as induction into the Reds Hall of Fame. Today I'm joined by Rob from Rob Cash Cards on YouTube to talk about Clue and the Cincinnati Reds. Rob is a huge Reds fan and currently lives just outside Cincy in Kentucky. Rumor has it that despite what Blake Shelton claims, Rob does in fact do the Dougie. Good morning, Rob.
Good morning.
Thanks for joining me to talk about Clue. So before we get started, can you give me a little bit of background about you and your ties to the Reds? I see Mr. Redlegs behind you. And
Yeah. Well, I'll start as talking about how I became a Reds fan. I was 7 years old, 1985. Pete Rose broke Ty Cobb's all-time hit record. Saw him on the news constantly. I'm like, who is this guy? And started watching highlights of him. My mom bought me a couple VHS tapes. I think it was one of them was The Pete Rose Way, How to Play Baseball, and I just fell in love with the game.
But every game has been fun, and winning, hustle, and fun is baseball the Pete Rose way.
And started collecting cards the next year in 1986 and fell in love with the hobby. And I kind of stopped briefly from probably 1998 collecting and got back into it about 2017, 2018. But I've always loved baseball. And I think Pete Rose being my favorite player at the time made me look back in history because I was just seeing him at the tail end of his career. So I fell in love with the history of the game as well.
Rob raises a great point. Collecting baseball cards was my gateway to wanting to know the history of the game as well. And once you start down that rabbit hole, you can really get deep. Neither Rob nor I are old enough to remember Clue during his playing days, but his iconic baseball card from 1957 made me want to learn more about the man. Who the heck was this guy with the big arms? Well, he was a Midwest boy born in Argo, Illinois in 1924, a town known for its corn growing, corn milling, and corn processing. My man Drew would probably love Argo. Ted entered high school at 5'5" and 125 pounds. A year later, he was 6'1" and 165. He was a football star who also loved basketball, with baseball being sort of something he dabbled in. He played only 2 seasons of high school baseball, playing in only 24 games. After graduation, Clue went to work in a factory, and baseball was pretty much forgotten. As Ted said, quote, "After a hard day at the factory, it would have been no fun to catch a local train into Chicago to play nightball." But he did stick with his first love, football. And on weekends, he would play some loosely organized sandlot football when a semi-pro official saw him. And this chance encounter led to a football scholarship at Indiana University.
The 1945 football season was one of great anticipation as Coach Bo McMillan and his coaching staff prepared for his 12th year at the helm. With the end of World War II in Europe and in the Pacific, Bo welcomed back 9 war veterans to a team of young freshmen and returnees. The mix would produce something that has never been duplicated in the history of Indiana football. As in previous seasons, 1945 would see the Hoosiers face a daunting schedule. The Hoosiers would open the season with 3 consecutive road Big Ten games and play only 1 conference home game, the finale against Purdue. It is with this backdrop that IU faced its season-opening game against Michigan in the Big House in Ann Arbor. Quarterback Ben Raimondi threw 2 touchdown passes, the first to Ted Kluszewski and the second to Mel Grooms to lead IU to a 13-7 upset victory. Week 3 saw the Hoosiers travel to Memorial Stadium in Champaign to face the Fighting Illini. Once again, the combination of Ben Raimondi to Ted Kluszewski proved to be the difference in a 6-0 Hoosier shutout. On November 24th, 1945, over 27,000 people jammed into Memorial Stadium to watch the undefeated Hoosiers battle 7-2 Purdue for the Big Ten championship. On the next Purdue possession, Ted Kluszewski recovered a Purdue fumble at the Boiler 1-yard line. Talafero followed Brown and Sawinski to the 10-yard line. From there, Raimondi rolled right and hit Ted Kluszewski with a touchdown pass to make the score 19-0. Purdue was desperate now and could feel the old oaken bucket slipping through their fingers. DeMoss, under heavy pressure from Brown and Deal, was intercepted by Raimondi, who returned the ball to the 34 with the aid of a crunching block by Kluszewski. 7 plays later, Raimondi hit Lou Mihailovic for the final touchdown. They are the first Big Ten champions in the history of IU, and they are the only undefeated team in Indiana history.
And sometimes things were just meant to be. When the football season ended, Ted joined the IU baseball team just as sort of something to do, keep busy, hang with the boys. How fortunate for baseball and for Ted's future. You see, during World War II, Commissioner Kennesaw Mountain Landis restricted travel for team spring training to cooperate with the Office of Defense Transportation. The effect was Cincinnati training in Bloomington, Indiana on the Hoosiers campus. And Klu, being a 4F due to childhood pelvic operation, helped the Reds grounds crew leader, Lenny Schwab, get the field ready for the Reds. After the Reds were done for the day, the college boys would use the field. And Schwab, remember, just a grounds crew guy, stuck around and watched Ted hit monstrous home runs in practice. Schwab then told Reds manager Bill McKenchie, who then came out to scout for himself. The Reds were sold and eventually convinced Klu to leave the gridiron for a $20,000 bonus. At training camp with the Reds, he impressed with his power at the plate. But his fielding, well, let's just say it needed work. The guy could hit, but he couldn't field. His first year of pro ball in Columbia, South Carolina, he hit .352 with an OPS of .964. But he also had 14 errors in 58 games at first base. In AA for 1947, he continued his offensive production, hitting .377 with an OPS of .963 with the Memphis Chickasaws. Memphis sports writer Walter Stewart wrote a column expressing doubt that Klu could, quote, catch a bear in a phone booth. Nice. The Reds hired Hall of Famer Bill Terry to be a personal coach for Klu's fielding in 1948. Terry was an elite defender, perhaps the best defending first baseman in the mid-1930s, leading the league in fielding percentage in 1935 and 36. Terry's first impression of Klu, quote, he'll have to hit .400 to stay in the major leagues. An unidentified sports writer was known to have said he would eat his typewriter if Ted ever made the major leagues. He must have been quite the sight. But everyone knows playing first base is easy, right?
You don't know how to play first base. Scott?
That's right.
It's not that hard, Scott. Tell him, Wash.
It's incredibly hard.
Hey, anything worth doing is. And we're going to teach you.
Give Klu and his coaches credit. He did the work, he put in the hours, and became not just a serviceable major league first baseman, but actually led the league in fielding percentage for 5 straight years, from 1951 to 1955. Ted and his wife were way, way ahead of their time. His wife, Eleanor, would film him. And remember, this is the 1940s. Nobody had movie cameras back then. They would break down his swing. Eleanor bought Ted this 16mm camera for Christmas in 1947, and she was an accomplished softball player. She would videotape him in spring training. And Ted said his first year playing regularly in the majors, he thought he might be overstriding. He and his wife broke down the swing on film and realized he was falling away with his shoulders. His average jumped 35 points to 309 for 1949. And now a word from our sponsor. For mildness, for flavor, Camels agree with more people than any other cigarette. Listen to major leaguers, listen to smokers everywhere, and you'll know why more people get more pure pleasure from Camel's mild, flavorful blend of costly tobacco. Try Camel's for 30 days and see what you've been missing. Ted Kluszewski, Cincinnati Reds slugging infielder, says, quote, Camels are a pure pleasure. Mickey Mantle, Yankees slugger, agrees. Mickey tried Camels for 30 days. I'm staying with Camels, says the Mick. See how well Camels agree with you. R.J. Reynolds Tobacco Company, Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Back to our program. I asked Rob about his personal history and when he learned about Ted and his importance to the Reds.
I didn't really know about Ted until probably around my sophomore year of high school, which would have been, I don't know, 95, 96, somewhere around there. Like when I started playing knothole, my favorite player on the Reds would always be played the same position that I played in the Little League. So I started out as a third baseman in knothole, and Buddy Bell was the Reds' third baseman at that time, which his dad, Gus Bell, was a teammate of Ted Kluszewski. But as I got older and got into high school, my sophomore year, I was looking to be a starter on the team. And third base was taken, shortstop, second. I didn't play any outfield. I didn't pitch much. And we had a senior that was graduating at first base. So I thought that was the only position that I could probably get the most playing time. And I was friends with the guy. So I talked to him. He gave me his first baseman's mitt, which I kept until his firstborn son. I gave it back. I didn't want to give it back to him. But I love that glove. So I became a first baseman, and I started looking at Reds first baseman. And Tony Perez was the closest, like the biggest name at the time. And I started learning more about the Big Red Machine. Tony Perez, I ended up buying his rookie card when I was a kid. I had to save up money for that. Bagged a lot of groceries to get that card. And then I ran into Ted Kluszewski. And that's how I kind of first started learning about him. And I think his name was one of the big, I think that was just an awesome name, Kluszewski. I just never heard that name before. And then Big Clue being his nickname, I thought that was a killer nickname. So that's when I first started kind of learning about Ted Kluszewski.
Another word from our sponsor. Mexana Medicated Powder. Big Ted Kluszewski, star first baseman of the Cincinnati Reds, says, at first sign of chafe or heat rash, I shake on Mexana and enjoy speedy, cooling comfort of itchy, stinging irritation. Mexana cushions my skin, refreshes me. I'm never without it. No ordinary power soothes like Mexana. Get the big 79-cent size today, available at your local pharmacy. Back to our program. On September 15, 1950, Ted crushed a line drive back to the mound, hitting Bubba Church in the face. Philadelphia ace Robin Roberts, former Spartan, recounted what transpired next. Quote, Bubba fired in a first pitch fastball and Big Clue met it squarely, sending it back at Bubba like a rocket. It struck Bubba in the face, opening a gash under his left eye. Bubba clutched his face, spun completely around, and sank to his knees. Church suffered a severe gash beneath his left eye and was taken to Jefferson Hospital. He would stay in the hospital for 8 days, and to his credit, one day after being released, he was back on the mound. National League umpire Larry Getz said he once thought eventually a pitcher would be killed by a line drive. It was only a matter of time. He changed his mind when he saw Kluszewski. Quote, I decided the first victim would be some guy walking along Western Avenue, minding his own business, who would be conked by one of Kluszewski's homers. In 1954, Clue finished second in MVP voting behind Willie Mays. Clue hit .326 with a 1049 OPS and led the league with 49 homers. Willie hit .345 with a 1078 OPS and 41 homers. But, of course, with elite defense. Not a bad guy to lose out to. From 1953 to 56, Clue really was at the peak of his career. He averaged 42 homers, hitting .315 with a 968 OPS, striking out only 140 times combined over those years, with 248 walks. But he injured his back, specifically in 56, and at the start of 57, it was clear that he was still in pain. he wouldn't even play half the season in 57 and only averaged 89 games a season over the last 5 of his career. He continued battling a pinched nerve in his back the rest of his life. I had thought that Ted's back injury was probably football related, but Rob had some insight that it may have been something else entirely.
Yeah. And the back injury, I mean, I was just reading a book about him the other day. A guy named Joel Luckup, he's a writer he does a lot of writing and publishes a lot of books about the Reds. In his book, he said that Klu's back injury was from a clubhouse fight.
Oh, okay. I was assuming that it was football related.
So I'm really considering sending him an email because, I mean, he published it. It's a book called 100 Things You Need to Know About the Reds Before You Die, something like that. Or you should know about the Reds before you die. And he wrote in there a clubhouse fight. I looked up a little bit of information on it. Some of the players that I read said that it was a fight between him and Chuck Harmon, who was he was the first African American player that the Reds had, and maybe he got hit. Ted Kluszewski got hit with a baseball bat, is what I read.
Wow.
And it's funny because that same season the Reds traded Harmon. Oh. So I don't know, but then later I think they did. Kluszewski did an interview and he said that that didn't happen. So, but a few of his teammates were saying it did. So I don't know.
Wow.
The truth behind it. Yeah.
It was easier to keep things in the clubhouse back then than today. We would know every detail about it. No.
Right. And I can see if it really did happen, I can see Kluszewski not, saying anything about it or not wanting to throw anybody under the bus or something like that.
Stay tuned for a word from our sponsor. McGregor, the mitt for you, the big clue. Here's the mitt champion Ted Kluszewski uses to set his fielding records. If first base is your spot, a McGregor baseman's mitt is your best bet. Outstanding features of this mitt include its extra large size, the Trapper model, premium leather, adjustable wrist strap, and finger and thumb loops. See Big Clue's mitt and other 1956 McGregor models at your local authorized McGregor distributor. McGregor, the choice of those who play the game. And now back to our program. In 1956, Klue famously cut the sleeves off his jersey, resulting in what I think we can all agree is the best-looking baseball card in the 1957 Topps set. Klue with his bat and a follow-through pose, no sleeves, sun's out, guns out. MLB Commissioner Ford Frick wasn't a fan, apparently. Heading into 1957, a new rule was established dictating that players of one team must all wear sleeves of approximately the same length. Boo! I say boo to you, Commissioner.
I fart in your general direction. Your mother was a hamster and your father smelt of elderberries.
My son clued me into, I didn't realize that they did a kind of a throwback in the, I don't remember what year it was. Yasiel Puig was on the team, if that helps. Does that ring a bell with you at all?
Yeah, it was a few years ago. It was their, I think it was their 150th anniversary, the team's anniversary. So they wore, that was a fun year because they wore like all their previous uniforms, all the throwbacks. They did it all year long. So it was fun. And that was I know there's a lot of baseball cards from that year of the cutoff sleeve. That was the most popular. I think Joey Votto's got a really cool card of him wearing those, and just a few of the Reds players, they used those images on Topps did for their baseball cards.
Washington's Griffith Stadium loads in 30,000 to see the 23rd All-Star game between the American and National Leagues. World Series rival managers Casey Stengel and Walt Alston meet again. Casey's muscle men are Yogi Berra, Ted Williams, and Mickey Mantle. National League President Warren Giles is surrounded by power too. Big stickers Willie Mays, Ted Kluszewski, Giles himself, Duke Snyder, and Stan Musial. Starting pitchers are the Pirates' Bob Friend and the White Sox's Billy Pierce. After Pierce yields the Nationals one run, Whitey Ford of the Yanks takes over in the fourth. With one out, Ken Boyer of the Cardinals gets his second hit. Willie Mays of the Giants bats for Gus Bell of the Redlegs. There it goes. Willie wallops one high up into the left field bleachers for a home run. It scores Boyer ahead of him, and the Nationals lead 3-0. Sixth inning, Tom Brewer of the Red Sox for the Americans. Ted Kluszewski, powerhouse, slices one into the corner and left, and it's good for 2 bases. Everything going wrong for the junior circuit. Brewer fires one into the dirt. It skips through for a wild pitch. Big Blue trots over the plate, and now it's 5-0. In the Americans' half, Nellie Fox of the White Sox singles, and up comes Ted Williams of the Red Sox. Ted belts one high and handsome to deep right center. It carries to the corner into the bullpen, and the 2-run homer breaks the ice for the Americans. Mickey Mantle of the Yanks next against Warren Spahn of the Braves. Mantle whales another drive. This one's into the left field bleachers for a homer, too. And now the Americans are back in the game. That finishes Spahn. Johnny Antonelli of the Giants takes over. Al Kaline of Detroit up. Kaline wraps out the 4th successive hit. Sherm Lawler of the White Sox, who also singled, is on second. Nobody out yet. Antonelli gets one out, but Stengel wants a big inning. He doesn't get it. George Kell of the Orioles wraps into a double play in the thread end. Stan Musial of the Cards up in the 7th. The man gets into the home run act. He drives it into the left field bleachers. That's his 5th all-star homer, the most any man ever has hit. With 2 out, Mays draws a walk. Kluszewski rifles a 2-bagger into the right field corner. Mays is running with the pitch, and it's a decisive victory for the Nationals, 7-3, with Lee scoring the final run.
It was interesting. I was reading when he was trying to rehab his back, the Reds were getting all kinds of fan mail about he needed to try this, he needed to try that. People were recommending secret formulas, kind of like, you remember Satchel Paige had his own like tonic that he would rub on his shoulder, and they were saying like something like aviation fuel and snake venom and like all these concoctions to try.
I forget what they used to call those. My grandma was like that when I was a kid. I was teething really bad, and I guess my mom told me that she took a mole's foot and wanted to like tie it on my shirt or something. I don't know, and that would cure the teething.
Yeah.
My mom never let her do it, but yeah, they did all kinds of stuff like that back in the day.
Another word from our sponsor. Are you weak, nervous, run down, skinny, fat and flabby, always picked on? Then do as Joe Louis and Ted Kluszewski tell you. For full facts, send a coupon today. We'll send you a free, full, and complete explanation of how the National Sports Council can help you build the right kind of body. And for just 10 cents, we'll send you our famous book, Fight Secrets by Joe Louis. Learn from Ted and Joe, as well as Bob Cousy, Yogi Berra, Doak Walker, and Kid Gavilan. Guaranteed to add solid inches to your chest in less than 15 minutes a day. Sponsored by the National Sports Council, 33 West 46th Street, New York, New York. And back to our program. After his playing days, Klue became a hitting coach in 1969 and would continue in that role through the 1987 season. That year, he had a triple bypass, and he didn't return to the Reds at the start of the 88 season because of concerns for his health. And sadly, those concerns were warranted. He died in March of 88. He was the Reds hitting coach under Sparky Anderson during the Big Red Machine's back-to-back World Series championships in 75 and 76. Klue's biggest contribution to the Big Red Machine was his use of video and breaking down swings on tape. Cincinnati sports writer Earl Lawson wrote an article in March of 75 detailing Klue's work, having broken down film on Ken Griffey over the winter in preparation for 1975. Klue noticed on film that Griffey was pulling away, opening his front shoulder too early, and wanted to help Griffey correct it in spring training for the upcoming season. So how did Griffey do in 75? He went from a 251 hitter to a 305 hitter, and then 336 in 1976. So how much of that was Ted's film analysis? Impossible to say, of course, but let's give the hitting coach at least some credit. I asked Rob about Klue's popularity in the Cincinnati collectibles market and to share some of his personal collection.
Just big Klue. I mean, he's still loved around this area. When you go to card shows, they have a huge Reds memorabilia show once a year around April, and you go there, and he's one of the main. It's like Pete Rose, Ted Kluszewski, Johnny Bench are the names you see, and Klue wasn't. Yeah, he was. Just his legacy with the Reds, the long legacy, the lasting legacy he left is what really I appreciate about him. How he stayed with the team and kept, even though they traded him, he came back and coached with them, and that's what I really appreciate and loved about him.
Do you have any Klue memorabilia or anything in particular that's
I got a couple things. I mean, I'm more of a card guy than anything. I don't have a ton of memorabilia.
Yeah, me too.
When I got back into the hobby, I had no idea what a graded baseball card was. No idea. I'd been out of the game for, 20-some years, 20-plus years. And I got on eBay, and I'm like, oh, they sell baseball cards on eBay. Just click on them, buy them. And the first card that I bought, I don't know why I bought this. I guess I just thought it was a beautiful card, was this 1956. Big Klue.
That's awesome. Who's number 23? Do you know who he's shaking hands with?
Oh, I do not know.
Yeah,
look into that.
I don't know either.
Not sure, but I thought that was just a gorgeous card. It caught my eye on eBay, and I love the blue hats that they wore during that era. And I bought this not too long ago. This is a 55 tops double header. SGC's got a lot of glare.
Yeah.
But it's I just love the artwork on here, and I love that the back of it talks about his 55 season.
What does the back look like? I don't have any double headers. Oh, okay.
Yeah. And the reason, this thing is in great condition. There's a little bit of writing. I think somebody wrote their name like somewhere around there. But I love the image, and I love that it talked about his the season before where I think he should have won. I think he finished second to Willie Mays in the MVP voting that year, but I thought he should have won it. And then I just got two other things. I'm trying to remember the year this photograph's from. It is, I believe, 56 maybe, and they gave these away at the All-Star game.
Oh.
Yeah. So
nice.
I think that was the only way you could get it was at the All-Star game. And I just love that it has Crosley Field in the background. I'm a huge fan of Crosley Field. If anybody watches my videos, and I even named my daughter, her name's Crosley. So
wow.
I'm obsessed with Crosley Field. And then the last thing, and I hate the slab on this. PSA puts things in these ginormous slabs, but this is an '84 postcard.
Okay.
And it's autographed, and they misspelled his name too. If you look at the
book. Oh, no S. Yeah,
his name's misspelled, but this is the only autograph item I have of him. But I think it's a classic image with the sleeve.
How were those issued?
Not sure. They were postcards. I know the art. I need to do a little more research on the artist. His name's Bruce Stark. I think he was a popular sports artist back in the day. I think he might have worked for like some of the big newspapers of the time. So just awesome. Love that image, and that's my favorite uniform that the Reds wore back in the day.
Ted has been inducted into the National Polish American Sports Hall of Fame. He was also inducted into the Reds Hall of Fame in 2002. In 1998, the Reds retired Klue's number 18. He became the 5th Cincinnati Red to have the honor. Can you name the previous 4 without the help of the internet? Drop a comment if you think you know. I think 3 of the 4 You'll probably guess fairly easily. I would never have guessed the first guy to have his number retired, so here's a clue. It was 1964. Thanks for your time, and thanks to Rob from Rob Cash Cards. Please check out his YouTube channel. It was great to meet you, Rob, and I hope we can do it again sometime soon. Take care.
Back, Chuck. Oh, forgot something. Dude's got wheels.